Hi guys, welcome back to my channel ArtsyPutsy with me Putsy, and for today's video I'm going to do a first impression and also kind of like review of makeup applicators from Juno Co. I have their microfiber velvet sponge. I also have some of their makeup brushes. So if you want to see my thoughts about these products, then just keep on watching. So Juno Co became a huge thing like a few months ago, I think around 1 or 2 months ago, mainly because of their microfiber velvet sponge. And Nikki Tutorial did a review on this. Jaclyn also did a review on this not long after, and both of them love these products, but it also created a little bit of drama there. I don't know what it was about because I don't really keep up with all the drama surrounding these products or any drama at all. So I don't know what the drama is about, but I'm very curious to try mainly their microfiber velvet sponge. But I also bought some of their brushes. I don't have every single brushes that they have on their website, but I feel like I have a good range of their face and eye brushes. So they also have makeup products like eyeshadow and all of that, lashes, but I didn't buy any of them because I don't know, I want to try them out, but maybe later. So now let's just see how this very highly talked about sponge works on me. And I'm going to compare this with the beauty blender because this is like one of the most favorite, of course, beauty sponge. I know how this works and I know how amazing it is, but for comparison, they both quite similar in size, but they have a completely different shape and material. This one is rounded at the bottom and have a pointed tip, and you can literally use every single side because, well, there is no side technically, but with this one you have this curve like a typical beauty blender, but then the bottom of this is flat. I don't know why they made it like this because I don't think it will be, I don't know, it's not very comfortable to blend. And it has a slanted side right here, great for under eye I feel, and also maybe for chisel out the contour. The material is completely different because of course the outside of it is made of microfiber material. It's very, like, I don't know, it's a really weird feeling. I can touch this all day. It's very soft and kind of feathery, like, but beauty blender feels like, you know, just your typical sponge. It feels like sponges, and the squeeziness is completely different. I feel like this is way more squishy and a lot more bouncy as well, but this one is a little bit more stiff and a little bit more dense. As you can see, it's not as bouncy as these ones. By the way, this retails for $6. You can get them at the Juno Co. They said it will give you a more natural airbrushed foundation finish. It will provide buildable coverage very fast. It has this like microfiber bristles, so it will act kind of like a brush, and the inside of it is a sponge. So it will give you a coverage like the brushes can provide you, but it will gives a more airbrushed finish like a sponge can do. I'm going to use the beauty blender on my left side and use this on my right side. Now I'm just going to run this under the water first, and let's see how they look then. So this is how they look like damp. And I think it's time for me to change this beauty blender because the shape and the color is already look like it doesn't look like a beauty blender at all. I mean, look at the shape. It's a little bit weird and kind of elongated here. It's kind of funny, but maybe not. But yeah, this is how it looks at the moment. It's not as big as this one. It's a lot more taller now than this one, and the bounciness is still, I mean, it gets a little bit more bouncy than before. It's not as stiff anymore, but still not as squishy and as bouncy as this, as you can see. I put the same pressure here, but I feel like this one absorbs a lot more water than this one when I run them in the water. First, I'm going to apply primer. This is the Colourpop All Star Matte and Blur Primer. Foundation I'm going to use today is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation, just because I know this foundation works for me, and I love the finish that it gives my skin. So I'm just going to mix these two together. I'm in the shade 220 Natural Beige and 128 Warm Nude. Well, usually with foundation, I just dot them around my face first and then blend them out with the sponge. So let's go with the sponge first. I don't know which side I don't know which side I want to blend my foundation with. Maybe let's just try the back first, or the bottom. It sounded weird, but okay, I don't really like the bottom. It feels, I don't know, it's not that I don't like them, it just feels a little bit different and it just takes a little bit getting used to, I feel like, because it's flat. Whoa. I mean, this foundation is a full coverage foundation, but usually with the sponge it looks like a medium to full coverage. And yeah, with the bottom here, I cannot get the foundation to the side of my nose, so I'm going to use this side now. But now I'm going to blend the other side with the Beauty Blender first, before I get the full opinion about the sponge. Oh yeah. As you can see, the coverage is completely different. It looks like I have two different foundation on. As you can see, this looks like a super full coverage foundation. With this side, it looks like a medium coverage. And it's true, it almost like I applied this foundation with the brush, which is surprising from a sponge. And it's not because I applied less foundation either, because I applied the same amount of foundation on both sides. But wow. So yeah, this is how it looks with Beauty Blender. And this is how it looks with the Juno Co Microfiber Velvet Sponge. The main difference, like I said before, is the coverage. It looks like I applied this with a sponge, with a brush I mean. In terms of the finish, I feel like the Beauty Blender gives me a little bit like more natural looking finish. It's true, in terms of the coverage, it performs like a brush. In terms of the finish, it performs like a sponge, even though the Beauty Blender gives me a little bit better finish. In terms of applying them, it feels, the Beauty Blender just feels a little bit better because of the squishiness, but because it is so soft, I really like applying the foundation with this as well. Foundation blends effortlessly, like very fast. Maybe because the bottom is a little bit bigger, but now I'm going to apply concealer with this sponge only, because I already know how this performs compared to the Beauty Blender anyway. For concealer, I'm going to apply the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Conceal and Contour. So I'm going to use this side right here. And by the way, this dry down way faster than the Beauty Blender, because as I squeeze this, I feel like it's already get a little bit too dry, but the Beauty Blender still feels very damp. Maybe because of the microfiber in here. And it looks way more dirty. Like it kind of, like foundation kind of stick to the bottom there. Yeah, it looks very dirty. Yeah, I really like this side for concealer. It blends out my concealer fast, really nice, full coverage, and the shape of it is just perfect for under eye area. Okay, this concealer at the moment looks very light. I mean, look at that. It usually doesn't look that white. So I don't know if I'm supposed to set my under eye with this, because let's just try that, because why not? Just because I'm usually much prefer setting my under eye with Beauty Blender anyway, so I'm going to do that now. In real life, my under eye area looks fine, but in viewfinder it looks really crazy. Wow. Is it because of the concealer? Does it have flashbacks? Usually it doesn't. By the way, now as I look them up, when I bought them they only have 2, but at the moment they already expand their range. They have different shapes now. They have the microfiber sculpting sponge and the microfiber precision sponge. They also have the microfiber angled contour sponge. Looks like a diamond. That one has a very weird shape in my opinion. And then the other one is the microfiber dewdrop sponge, which looks completely like the beauty blender with the rounded bottom and the teardrop shape. I think I might have to get that one, or the micro precision sponge, because it looks like the velvet sponge but with a rounded bottom. Well, why don't they release that sooner? Now let's just move on to the brushes. I have 2 different face brush here. I already washed them as they arrive because that's what I usually do with all my brushes and sponge. I clean them first before I use them, and I don't think they shed. This one cleaned a little bit weird because after I clean them it doesn't go completely back into shape, because and I can, I pinch them, it just stays like that, but you just have to reshape them. It's fine. And this one specifically just took a little bit longer for it to get dried, but with this one it go completely back into shape. This one is the ES03, the You're Making Me blush brush, and this one is their Babe Squad Handy Buki brush. They changed the name. When I bought this it doesn't have that weird name. Why? And both of them are $3, which is crazy. I don't know if I'm supposed to use this for foundation or powder, but I much prefer a foundation brush that is a bit more dense. But I don't know, maybe it will work for that. But for today I will only use this for powder. And this one I think I will like this for blush and also maybe bronzer, and it looks a little bit tapered, so I think I will like this. I got all of the brush in the matte finish. They have 2 different finish if I remember correctly. It's rectangular and the bottom here, so you can place them in your desk perfectly. It's not going to go anywhere, so the shape I really like, and it doesn't look cheap whatsoever even though it's only $3, but the handle itself do feel like a cheap brush because it feels very light, and it doesn't have a nice weight to it. And I feel like the bottom part here, the handle, I feel like it's very hollow. I'm just going to use this brush first for powder to set the rest of my face. And yeah, I don't like this kind of brushes for powder, but I mean it's a soft brush, and I get this with the sponge, and it was way cheaper that way. It only cost around $1 or $2 if I bought this with the sponge. I don't know if they still have the set, but if you're not interested in this brush, then just get the sponge, because now I'm kind of regretting getting this brush. I don't know what the purpose of it, yeah, I don't like this. Now let's continue on with bronzer. For bronzer, I'm going to use the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It picks up a lot of products, as you can see. Tap them off. Okay, for bronzer, it applies bronzer really nicely. I feel like it is way better applying products with a tapping motion, because if I do this, it's just a little bit too stiff for that. It's not very flexible. So if the product that you use is very pigmented, then use a very light hand, or just tap all the excess product from your brush first. For blush, I'm going to apply the Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in Mellow Wine, this one right here. Maybe it's not a great idea to apply this blush because this is a very pigmented blush, and let's pray for me. I'm just going to use the other side of the brush because why not? As you can see, okay, yeah, that is blush really nicely, right? That's just a little bit too much, but I think the shape of it is perfect, and it's just boom boom boom, done, boom boom boom. I think I like this, really like this for blush. I mean, it is a blush brush. Now I don't have a highlighter brush because they only have a fan brush, and I don't like a fan brush for applying highlighter, so I'm just going to apply highlighter with my usual brush. I'm going to use the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. Now for eye area, I have 4 brushes right here. It comes in a set of 4. It's only $6 for all 4 of these brushes, but if you buy them individually, each of them retails for $2, I believe, so you save $2 that way. The set is called the Eyes Have It Eye Brush Set. We got the ES06. This is their eyeshadow blending brush. What? This is a blending brush. I thought this is like a flat shader brush. It's not gonna be great as a blending brush because it's way too stiff for a blending brush. But I think you can use this to blend. But I think you can use this for a flat shader brush because I don't know, it's a little bit too stiff for a blending brush. But it's very soft. And we got the ES07. This is their BBF Tapered Crease Eyeshadow Brush. I don't know what BBF mean. We also got their ES08. This is their Where There's Smoke Smudge Eyeshadow Brush. I don't know why they name all of this like that long. Like, you don't have to do that. But yeah, this is the Smudge Eyeshadow Brush. And then we have their Winging It Angled Eyeliner Brush, ES09. So for eyeshadow, I'm going to use this Soft X eyeshadow. I'm going to create something very basic, just because I don't know, I just really want to try out brushes. I'm not really going anywhere anyway. So I already finished up the rest of my makeup off camera. Before I give you an opinion about this one, let's just give an all-over roundup about all the products I've tried in this video. So I will put all of this into 3 categories. So the first 2 is the one I really like. These 2 right here, the Microfiber Velvet Sponge and the blush brush. I don't really remember the name, it's a long one, the ES03. I really like this one because, like I said, it gives a really beautiful finish, like a sponge, like a beauty blender, not as flawless as the beauty blender, but pretty close. And you will use more product than you usually use with a beauty blender, so that's a plus point because it will save you a lot more foundation that way. And the brush right here, the blush brush, I really like, especially for blush obviously, but I can use this for bronzer as well. It's like the perfect shape for my cheek. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too dense, it's not too flimsy. It's right in the middle. It's not the best blush brush I have ever tried, but I do really like this, so I will recommend this as well. Besides, it's really cheap. I mean, it's only $3, so why not? The two other products I like, but there's also something I don't like about them, are these two right here. This is the ES07, the Tapered Crease brush, I believe, and this is the ES08. I don't remember what this was called, but this is like a very stiff pencil brush. This works pretty great for blending out the shadow on my crease or just for that transition shade. Even though it blends out the eyeshadow really nicely, it's just a little bit stiff, like it's kind of poking my eyes, just because the point of this brush is just way too stiff. It doesn't have a lot of movement to it, it's not too flexible. It's just the feeling of the brush when applying them is a little bit off, but it applies product really nicely. So I don't know, it's okay for me. It's not the best, but it works fine. And the next one is this brush, also pretty similar to that one. It applies product really nicely. It's just way too stiff. I like this for applying my under eye area, but it's just a little bit too stiff and can kind of poke my eyes a little bit as well. But I really like this for applying inner corner highlight and under my eyebrow. I mean, it's not too blinding, it's not too intense, but it's also the perfect shape for this area. I don't really like a very blinding brow bone highlight, so it kind of apply them very softly and a little bit more subtle, because it's a little bit fuller on the sides here, even though it is in a point. Both of these works pretty great, but just feels a little bit uncomfortable on the eyes. These three products I really don't get. Like, this is too flimsy for foundation. Maybe it will work great for foundation. I have to try this again to apply foundation, because I didn't do that in this video obviously. I just don't think I'm gonna reach for this anymore. And the other two brushes I really don't get is the ES06 right here and the ES09. This is supposed to be a crease brush, but I don't think anyone can use this for the crease because it's too dense for a crease brush. It can blend out eyeshadow really nicely, but for a shader brush, this is just a little bit too fluffy. Like, it's too big for that. There's a lot of bristles in it because it is supposed to be a crease brush, but it's a little bit too dense for a crease brush. But for applying shadow all over the lid, for matte shadows, it applies them a little bit more sheer. And I cannot really use this for a shimmer shadow as well, because I use that and I can barely see any shimmer shadows on the lid. Yeah, it's just a little bit weird. I don't really get this brush. Like, but if you like a very simple eyeshadow look for everyday basis, like one shadow for all over the lid and then blend out all the edges a little bit, I think you can use this for that purpose. And then lastly, we have this brush right here. This is supposed to be an eyeliner brush. It's a little bit too big for eyeliner, because if you see from the side here, there's a lot of bristles. It's not thin enough to become an eyeliner brush. You cannot really use this for cream eyeliner either, in my opinion. And for eyeshadow, I tried to apply this to try to create a soft wing liner, and like I said, it's a little bit too thick for that, and I ended up having a really big line in the edge, which is why I blend them in the end with this, because I don't think it looks great. But I do think it works for under eye. If you want to apply color on your under eye area very tightly, I think it works for that. But yeah, maybe I should get this into the second category, because I can still see myself using this brush for my under eye area. So yeah, that's my first impression and review for all the brushes and the makeup sponge from Juno Co. I hope this video can help you if you are currently thinking about getting brushes or sponge from this brand. I do think they are worth to try because they are very affordable. Definitely get the sponge because I do think they are really worth the hype. But yeah, I hope you find this video somewhat helpful. If you do like this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. The subscribe button is right down below. And lastly, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope I can see you in my next video. Bye guys. I like this side for I really like this. I don't know what was that? That sounded very weird. I'm going to use the Physician formula. Excuse me. It doesn't have